So, my injury. I think the first thing to say is just this corona pandemic, in terms of my health, my nutrition, my fitness, has just really sort of thrown a span in the works when it comes to everything. I feel like obviously it took a lot of us by surprise and we've all had to adjust. But with that, there's been obviously a bit of a shift in people's priorities. Yeah, so for most of society, the pandemic really helped people focus on their health and their fitness and their nutrition and their sleep. It sort of brought the realization that life is short and that we should look after ourselves. But in my case, it was a bit of the opposite, because I think I was already doing that to a certain extent. You know, I played a lot of sport. I exercised quite a lot. I actually had an identity around sport itself. I had built this identity. It was part of my life, a major component of my life, in fact. And when the pandemic hit, obviously, we couldn't gym, we couldn't exercise, we couldn't play sport, except, you know, if you were a runner, I guess it was runner's paradise, but I wasn't a runner. And as those things got removed from society, such as gyms and hockey and squash and all these sort of social gatherings around the sporting industry, it sort of started to strip my identity away, to a point where I felt until those things returned back to normal, I didn't have to do anything. Sleep, if I don't at least sleep for 8 hours a day, if I don't drink at least 2 liters of water, and that's when I'm not exercising, and if I'm not stretching, recovering, and obviously eating the right type of things, and those things will, I guess, not be taken care of. And by being on autopilot and not taking care of those things, I can't expect to still be the person that I was or the athlete that I was. And also age, I guess, at the end of the day. I turned 29 in Feb, and I realized I have to eat differently, I have to sleep differently, I have to recover in a different way. So with that being said, I've had a lot of time to look at what people are doing. And as I said, also the importance of sleep really became a thing. And it's something that Imola, my girlfriend, has always been saying, but I never really, I wouldn't say I never listened to her. I heard the message, but I thought I was just a bit different. I thought, well, I've always been able to do this. I did it when I was in school. I did it when, you know, I was playing university sport. I did it when I was playing hockey, because that's the person that I am. I need to be able to sort of process a lot of things in my mind, and that was my excuse. And I gave myself, I guess, the authority to, or not the authority, I gave myself the permission to neglect my sleep and how important it was. I gave myself the permission to neglect my nutrition, because I think I compensated for it by doing so many workouts and doing so many activities. And when I can't do all of those things to compensate for it, you're left with the truth, and the truth is that I wasn't taking care of those fundamental components. So I've obviously decided to really take that seriously again. I've had to sit down and try to be more intentional about those three things. And even on the nutrition side, I don't think I had a bad diet. That is actually what has happened. As I said, for maybe some people, they actually got a kick in the butt and they sort of started doing these things, and they sort of put a priority on their fitness and their health and their lifestyle. But it was the opposite for me, and I have obviously taken some time to realize that. It was only through obviously the latest injury that I had that I realized that there are other components in my health, my lifestyle, and my, I guess, when it comes to being a healthy human being, that I was taking for granted. And I've gone back and obviously looked at some of the things to say, well, where did it go wrong? And it took a long time actually to realize or figure out where it went wrong, until obviously, as I said, the injury really brought that time for me to sort of sit down and think and reassess my thoughts in my life. And I realized that, well, for one, when it comes to any sort of performance, obviously being on the sport field or outside of the sport field, a lot of it depends on the state that you're in. And with that being said, the pandemic obviously threw myself into a place where my state was changed and it was altered. My girlfriend lives halfway across the world, so I don't know where I'm going to see her. I can't obviously gym or exercise because that is part of my identity that's been stripped away from me. And you sort of also question yourself and try to figure out where the world is going to go, and all those things play with your mind. And I guess at the end of the day, they play with your state of mind as well, and the state that you're in. And one thing I started realizing when I started sleeping a lot more, because there was not much that I could do, obviously I had time to recover, when I started drinking a lot more water, is that these are the things that affect my state of being, my mental health, to doing breakfast and lunch, and try to do my workouts in the morning. And I think for me, doing workouts in the morning are quite important because life just happens after work and you sort of get it done in the morning. It's the first thing. There's no excuses that you can really give yourselves, whereas in the evening there can always be something, you know, a visitor comes past, or it was a bad day at work, or you know, there's takeout. So by doing your exercises in the morning, I feel that it's something that you can really commit to before the rest of the day basically gets to change your state of being or your state of mind. And that's at the end of the day what is the most important for, I guess, performance, not even just peak performance, but the best of the best do it in the world. And if I want to be intentional about that, not that I need to be the best and the best at anything, but I do need to perform in my work. I do need to perform as a person, as a boyfriend, as a, you know, a son, as a brother, as a friend. I need to be at the best of my ability. In order to do that, I need to be fully rational. In order to do that, I need to take care of my mind and my state of being. So basically, I'm going to be looking at everything that I can do to control that and optimize it. We'll obviously at some point in time do a lot more research into vitamins and all the type of things that can enhance that. Recovery, rests, exercises that can help me with doing that. And I think one of the things that it's an easy trap for people to fall into, I guess, and I've done it before as well, to say that when you want to take your nutrition seriously, you sort of, you know, hop online and you try to do the quickest method, you know, you probably take some sort of product and try to get into shape for 30 days. And it's those small things which come fast and easy which actually derail you so much, because you don't become a student of the game. You don't actually really look at what has been researched, trialed, and actually works for people. You're taking the word of someone that is just trying to sell something, and obviously it's a marketing ploy, and they know because they say the words fast and easy that a lot more people will be attracted. And as a rational human being, you shouldn't be attracted by those type of things. But that's why I mentioned, when you're not in the right state of mind, it's easy to sort of fall into those traps and go for the most convenient thing. So at the end of the day, it's just really important, I guess, for myself to control the state that I'm in. And in order to do that and perform better is obviously, as I said, the three things that I really want to focus on is my sleep, my hydration, as well as nutrition. And so it's going to be a journey that I'm going to be on, and I'll try to document as much as possible because it's something that I intentionally want to do. I've got a lot of other things to do, but this one's just really important to me. I felt it, as I said, on the flight back, and obviously anyone can feel that way. Flying back, you know, doing more than 14,000 kilometers in less than 24 hours. But still, I just realized before that, as well as on the flight, that these are small components that affect my state of being, how rational I am, and in making rational decisions, I can obviously perform better. And yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I've got a lot of help that I can basically harness. I've got my girlfriend who's got a degree in sports management and works in the sports industry. So I think I am more willing and receptive to listen to her because I'm not being stubborn, and I realize that I want to do it now. And yeah, my best friend is a chiropractor as well. So he obviously knows the human body, the anatomy, will help obviously a lot with the recovery process, and is someone to sort of have these conversations with, to say, well, what is actually a good thing for, let's say, this movement? What's the correct form and technique? And I've obviously done that with Emil a lot. We've worked on my squats, as I mentioned before, I think on a previous video, the knees over toes guy. We looked at how our squats can be improved, and obviously how we can prevent a lot more knee injuries and bring strength to the VMOs. But at the same time, it didn't need to get there if I was recovering properly, if I was, you know, hydrating properly, if I was eating the right things and just looking after my body. So it's been a hectic 16-17 months with this pandemic of not focusing on that, but I think it's time to get back again.